Hello students, welcome to Legacy IAS Academy. In today's video, we are going to discuss about the recent decision taken by the government of India to ban all kind of land port entry for the goods originating from the Bangladesh. So let us try to understand why this decision has been taken and what are going to be the implication of this decision. Now we know that in a sudden recalibration of trade norms and the shift that we are seeing going on between the bilateral relations of India and Bangladesh, India has imposed sweeping port restrictions on a range of items and goods originating from the Bangladesh, and those include the largest exported item from Bangladesh, RMG, that is the ready-made garments, as well as also the processed food as such. Now this move has come just weeks after New Delhi has revoked a key transshipment facility for Dhaka. We know that in the early April, Government of India has revoked the permission given to the Bangladeshi companies to ship their goods using the ports and airports of India to some third countries, and largely this facility was used by Bangladesh to ship and export goods to the countries of Middle Eastern region as well as the European region. So obviously that has significantly impacted the overall trade of Bangladesh. The decision also coincided with the diplomatic strains that we have seen that has triggered by the provocative remarks from the top Bangladeshi official in the China as such. This entire decision has been taken by the DGFT, that is Directorate General of Foreign Trade, working under the government of India as such. Now, the reason why DGFT has notified this, or what actually DGFT has notified it, let's try to understand this also in more detail. So we know that we have different categories of items. So as far as the ready-made garments are concerned, DGFT has clarified that these can only pass through or can use only two ports. One is the Nhava Sheva port that you have in the Maharashtra, and second is the Kolkata port that is in West Bengal. No other ports can be used for the ready-made garments export by the Bangladesh as such. Other categories such as fruits, or talk about the carbonated drink, processed foods, snacks, chips, and everything that you can see from here, these will not be allowed any entry through any of the land customs stations or the ICPs. Now, between India and Bangladesh and also several other countries along the land border of India, Government of India has established LCS, that is a land customs station, which allow the transshipment or movement, we can say not transshipment, basically the movement of the goods across the border of India and Bangladesh. However, for the certain goods such as fish, LPG, edible oils and crushed stone, some exceptions have been made because these goods can even continue to enter through these ports as such. So basically again if we try to revise, as far as the ready-made goods are concerned, ready-made garments are concerned, they can only use two facilities, Nhava Sheva port and the Kolkata port. If we talk about all these other category of items, they will not be allowed to pass through the LCS and the ICPs, and then there are certain exemptions which are basically exempted from this particular DGFT decision. Now this particular decision of Government of India has come after the Muhammad Yunus's controversial remark which he gave when he was on his visit to China, and during his visit he has clearly stated that the northeastern states of India are a landlocked region. The Bangladesh is only country with a sole guardianship of the Bay of Bengal region, and he also has invited China to develop economic projects and infrastructure projects and use the Bangladesh entry and exit ports in the region of Bay of Bengal or Indian Ocean as such. So this has not boded well for him because the Government of India has taken this as a kind of threatening stance, and after this on the April 9th, India has decided to withdraw the transshipment facility. This transshipment facility was in operation in last 5 years since 2020, and this has allowed Bangladesh, as we have discussed, to route the export to different countries of the globe as such. That facility now revoked for all destination. Now here also we have exceptions. As far as the Nepal and Bhutan is concerned, if Bangladesh is exporting something to these two countries, then transshipment facility the government of Bangladesh can easily access. Now we try to understand this also has come because of the threat that India witnesses due to its narrow corridor that connects the mainland India to the northeastern India, which is called as Chicken's Neck and Siliguri corridor. And here Bangladesh also has decided to invite China and also is trying to basically develop a Lal Munirhat air base that was a decorated base, and the Bangladesh government has recently given its army and air forces the approval that they should again try to refurbish it and make it fully operational in nature. So all these decisions by Bangladesh is creating kind of threat-like scenario as far as the northeastern regions of India is concerned. This also has a strain to the bilateral ties that was already a strain due to the ouster of Sheikh Hasina, and also after the ouster of Sheikh Hasina, there has been a continuous what you can call as the violence against the minorities in Bangladesh, especially Hindus, where several Hindu monks have been arrested on frivolous charges and they have been put into jail as such. Now, this trade tensions not only because of the change in the internal politics of Bangladesh, but also these trade tensions can be fueled or as is fueled by economic rivalry as such, because as far as the Bangladesh is concerned, it is considered as one of the major competitor of India in the textile sector. So, such revocation of transshipment facilities and restricting the movement of goods from Bangladesh, especially in the textile sector, has been long demanded by the textile manufacturers and the textile industry of India itself as such. India and Bangladesh trade, if talk about, stands around $13.9 billion in the last fiscal year of 23-24. Previously, Bangladesh were able to use all the ports, land custom stations and the integrated checkposts of India without any kind of restriction as such. Now, this is also very interesting. You have to understand that government of India was not the only one who have begun to involve in such kind of activities or has banned transshipment facilities just like that. It was because of the Bangladesh's decision as well. For example, Dhaka has imposed port curbs on Indian export, particularly at LCAs and ICPs, both that are bordering the northeastern state. For example, we talk about the yarn exports that used to be sent in the Bangladesh across the land ports, that has been stopped by Bangladeshi government, and not only that, even other Indian shipments, they are subjected to rigorous inspections upon entry in Bangladesh as such. Further, we talk about the export of rice from India. Rice exports were not allowed through the Benapol ICP from April 15, that has already added to the existing restriction. Industrial growth, however, in the northeastern state is believed because of this decision of Bangladesh, because of this region, or this decision of Bangladesh to ban or restrict the entry of Indian goods into its territory. It is believed by experts that it can pose a challenge in the overall development of northeastern state. For example, first of all, they will have a triple problem. If you talk about northeastern state, first problem is that they have to face unreasonably high and economically unviable transit charges by Bangladesh. Second, many of the goods export of this into Bangladesh have not been permitted anymore. And overall, the disruption that we have seen due to the rigorous checking and training also will have a huge impact to play as such. So that is why Government of India has decided to engage in tit-for-tat, and also the transshipment facilities and the access of Bangladesh to land customs stations have been revoked as such. Now, if talk about the effect, generally it will have that if talk about the banning of transshipment or the banning of entry to LCP, obviously it will cause a massive disruption in the Bangladesh's export to the third country. Arrangement overall had helped in the streamlining of trade, making it easier and cheaper for Bangladesh to access international markets using Indian infrastructure. And this will, if it will not stop completely the export of Bangladesh to other countries, obviously it will increase the cost for Bangladesh. And this is a very significant development, because you know that Bangladesh already is strained, its export sector is already strained. It is not able to ensure that the sector is able to get the adequate capital for its functioning and further fresh investment, and especially in the sector of ready-made garment, which is the most booming sector of Bangladesh, that will be the most worst affected by this particular decision as such. So, try to understand the impact on the RMG. If we talk about the total export of Bangladesh, 78% of export, 78.6% actually you can see from the figure here, is largely clothing, that is ready-made garment, which is the affected sector here, and most of the export are going to the European countries, as we can see from here, US and UK, apart from India and Japan as such. So, if talk about in 2024, the Bangladesh had achieved a milestone of exporting goods worth $50 billion with a strong annual growth of 8.3%. The RMG sector, which forms the backbone of the country's economy, however, has also shown a substantial growth. Exports of leather and leather goods also have picked up here. Cotton and cotton product export has surged by 16.3% to $319 million. So, this growth underscores the importance of maintaining efficient and cost-effective trade route, because how Bangladesh is able to maintain its competitiveness at the global scale, the one reason was the cost-effective trade route, where it has to pay very less amount of money to ensure the seamless movement of goods across the border. So, because of the shutdown of transshipment and this restriction of entry to the LCS and ICP, these are going to be severely affected as such. In conclusion, what we can say that Bangladesh, if we try to understand from India's perspective also, because Bangladesh is the largest competitor or the biggest competitor of India as far as the cotton textile sector or ready-made garment sector is concerned. Bangladesh also exports to India, and this export stands today at $700 million. In 2023, if we talk about the last year data, including to India, 93% of which came through the land port. So if the barrier is imposed at the land port, that means this amount of money that the Bangladeshi government was generating as a revenue, that obviously will dry up, that obviously will drastically reduce. So this is something that we can understand, that already Bangladesh is in a turbulent waters, its economic situation is not good, and even many experts have argued that they are in the same boat as they were in the beginning of their independence, that is 1971. So obviously this will be a big setback for the country as such. Indian exporters, especially in the apparel sector, have long pushed for curbs on such imports. So this decision of the government of India will obviously make the Indian domestic textile sector and the people there very happy in nature. Bangladesh has continued to restrict Indian export at its own LCAs and ICP. So we have to understand that the government of India's decision is not unilateral decision. It is a response against the Bangladeshi decision to restrict entry through LCS and ICP in the northeast, despite repeated requests from New Delhi to ease those curbs. And because these curbs and this requests were not heeded by the Bangladeshi government, the government of India had no other option but to impose similar kind of restriction against the goods originating from the Bangladesh as such. That is all about this particular video. I hope you got the idea behind the rationale of the Indian government's decision making against the Bangladeshi product. If you like the video, please hit like button, share it with your aspirants, and subscribe to the channel for more such content. Thank you very much.